Standing in the middle of New George Street, you may be able to see that the angle, we're going downhill looking towards Stonehouse. There's quite an incline if you look, and that of course is why, I'm just standing in the road again, that is why of course Union Street is only 6 foot above mean high tide. And perhaps as water levels rise, it will go underwater. Here's the other part of New George Street, and you may be able to just see that's going slightly uphill. I'm pretty sure when you were here as a youngster, this street was full of cars and people. Unfortunately these days the footfall is low and there aren't many vehicles. Whether the two are linked, I wouldn't like to say. A lot of people will argue. However, the trees have grown and the trees look very nice. You can't say this is not a pleasant area. It's hard to imagine I'm standing here in the middle of a blitzed city. In 1941, this was virtually obliterated. The only building really left that survived the war was Leicester Harmsworth House, which is the red brick building in the middle of the photograph that at the time was in use by the Western Morning News. Here we see Leicester Harmsworth House. One of the main reasons it survived the Blitz was because the night staff were on. In those days the newspaper was printed here. When the incendiaries fell on the roof, they were able to remove them. Thus the building did not burn. Maybe this view down New George Street, looking west, gives an idea of the incline going down to Union Street, which I said in the other film was only 6 foot above high water mark in some spots. And turning around, looking east, maybe you can see the inclination here. To the eye it's very obvious, and we're going up higher, and by the time we get to the end of the street, up near Drake's Circus, we've got to be a good 20 or 30 feet above the level of the other end of the street. We're at the sundial. That's where Armada Way crosses New George Street. Does this remind you of your youth? When I was a young lad, the sundial wasn't here, of course. And it wasn't pedestrianised. It was full of cars and really full of people. There are quite a few people around today. I don't think it's like it used to be. Armada Way, looking towards the railway station. The trees have grown, and unfortunately the stream has dried up. It's been a good few years since water flew through here. However, the path is still recognisable. And of course the main feature here is now dry. Was this a good idea? Today Armada Way is a quite peaceful green space within a busy city urban area. I quite like it here on a nice afternoon. What do you think? Here we have a little island where water used to once flow. Doesn't flow anymore, but you can see the sort of path it made. You have to wonder what's going to happen here in the long term. But standing here, you can see Plymouth's tallest building, student accommodation, 22 stories, I believe. Is this the way that Plymouth will head? And here we are today at the junction of Armada Way and Cornwall Street. It's certainly a large open space between the green spaces here and the green spaces here. Looking up the hill to Drake Circus, we can once again see the incline as the ground elevates. So therefore, by default, we should see a loss of elevation as we look the other way west towards Union Street, which, as I've said several times already today, in some places only 6 foot above high water mark. Does the green space of Armada Way work for you? Even with a river that doesn't flow anymore, is it still good? My feeling is yes, it's a very nice space, and it acts like a lung bringing air to the city area. As we can see, some of the trees are getting quite impressive now. Not like when I was a lad. I hope this little film brings back some memories to some of you.